See how we sound here.
All right, how are we doing? I don't know.
Sound.
Your sound looks. I mean, your levels look like they're pretty good.
Oh, okay.
Our Coury's level's good. He sounded a little quiet to me at first. It does look like you're a little quieter than I am on there. So maybe turn it up just a little.
I mean, just a little bit.
Just a little.
All right, how about that?
Yes.
Let's try that, I guess.
Yeah, I think that works.
Is it? I should have turned off my monitor. The kids don't have school tomorrow, so my wife has been working on the kitchen and like painting the kitchen. So she's like, "Oh, the kids can stay up a little bit later tonight." And I really want to finish painting, and they're just like being rambunctious because it's way after their bedtime.
So
here we are. We've finally have been able to reveal to the world. I mean, I guess we revealed it, but I mean, like now everybody has seen the first part of the documentary. Someone in our Discord was just saying you should put a on-screen blurb with info that the docuseries will continue. People, I don't know if people understand that. Like the goal is like roughly like an entry, like a part every like a little bit about a month or so.
Yeah, it realistically probably like a month and a half, but you know, I'm going to act like a month is possible.
Yeah, I mean that's the goal, and there will be like regular episodes in between.
Yes.
I mean the goal is I spent a lot of this weekend working on a frame that is going to be movable, roll aroundable. That's going to be our typical background. I didn't want to put wood paneling on the wall here, so I built a big PVC pipe frame, and I'm going to put wood paneling on it. And it's kind of cool. It's kind of big. It's like 6 feet tall and maybe 7 feet wide. So I was just thinking like, oh, you know, actually I could probably, you had mentioned that I could probably put something on the other side. Like I could probably put a green screen on the other side.
As little as we use that kind of thing.
Yeah, which is like, it was never, I mean, it's not even a normal thing that we even do anymore.
I saw a few questions in the chat. The filming is done. I mean, I am not going to never say never to recording more interviews, but probably not at this point. I don't think. I mean, when I say filming is done, we've got like a bunch of interviews. And
B-roll. There's a
B-roll.
lot of people, like new people in each episode.
Yeah. And B-roll from when we were there out shooting at places, but there is still a lot of B-roll that we shoot at home. And you know, the stuff for, I mean, there might be a few things we've already shot that I'll use in like part 2 or something, but, you know, that kind of stuff is kind of just, you know, as I need it in editing, I'm like, oh, I need a shot of this. Neither I get it or Coury gets it, you know. So
basically, all the stuff that you see with like the gray, like the dark gray bumpy bottom, a lot of that is all
textured. So that textured gray surface. That's like we got that to like sort of differentiate it from our normal episodes that have like the wood top surface.
Yeah.
For B-roll that we shoot at home. So that was kind of the idea there. But, you know, I mean, I was thinking like, you know, we've been hyping this thing up in the stream for probably half a year. Like, I mean, we've probably like mentioned it here and there, but we've been saying it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. Oh, I think it's only going to be 2 more months. I think it's only be another month. And then, you know, it keeps getting pushed and finally got the first one out. And I don't know if like we adequately like conveyed like in the pre-release like
what it is,
it is, and it's really gratifying to see people like get it, like, you know, they see it, they get what we were trying to do with it, they seem to really appreciate the tone and the stories and all that. So
yeah,
the numbers been what you expected. They are, I guess, about what I would say I hoped for, which was like much better than a normal documentary. But documentaries tend to like not do super amazing. They tend to like get the most comments and the most impassioned response, but not that great of actual view numbers.
Right.
So
and, I mean, we I guess we learned our lesson with the Tom Du Bois documentary last year, where there was so many comments and so many like people were just like so passionate in the comments, and then the views were low. We thought something was wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's been good to see it, you know, performing like a regular, like relatively big episode.
I'm in the mouth. Can you guys? I don't hear the rumbling. See, now here they come. Here they come. Guys. What? they're usually in bed by now.
Mom said if we go upstairs, if we play, I go wherever Aria goes.
I don't even know. I'm like, all right. Hey guys.
Come on, they
upstairs.
die 2 cats in the winter.
Yep. Go ahead.
Outside in the winter.
There we go. Yeah. They doesn't have school tomorrow, so. Hey. Anyways, I'm sorry. So.
That's okay. People appreciated the Yoshi shirt.
No, because it's really loud and obnoxious.
It's not really loud.
Yes.
Yeah, Joe, I know I'm a little out of focus. If you want to see what the full shot looks like, it's like this. You know, so it's really the only place that I can set the webcam really easily. So for a stream, I don't care that much about being a little bit out of focus.
Yeah.
You know, I should get better webcams sometime.
Sorry about that. I'm just like I thought that they would be under control and they would not come down here. I don't think Montgomery understands like what is happening. When he gets real close to the microphone, he's like, sorry. All right. Oh, you changed cameras so I can lay down the law. It looks like. Did you?
Oh, I didn't even know you did anything.
Oh.
I switched to the camera to show Joe what the full shot looks like to explain the blurriness. Speaking of Joe, I watched the new GameStack today. I thought that was such a clever topic for an episode.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. I just watched it a little while ago too.
Like that's a topic that like I think about a lot, and it was cool to see that like Joe like clearly puts like the same kind of thought into that, because I feel like it's something that a lot of people don't really think about too deeply, like especially because like save states are so like widely used.
Right.
Like I think I'm a little I agreed with a whole lot of Joe's stances on it, but like especially the part that's like, you know, do what is fun for you. But I think kind of the addendum that I would make to that is like, don't be afraid to try something that sounds difficult. And you might find you might find that it's more fun than you thought it was, because I got back into NES games like in the late 90s. You know, I've kind of had this conversation with a lot of people, you know, in the comments of the video, because you know, the main theme is like, is it really just nostalgia? It's not nostalgia. Like that's kind of the main theme. It's always been about discovering new things that I haven't played before, like the Sunsoft Batman on the Genesis, you know. But like when I was going back and getting these NES games, I was having fun playing them, but I was like, so many of them I was like really afraid to commit to. And it wasn't until years later that I'm like, I'm going to beat these games. And like, it used to be, you know, you got the game over, you have to start over from the beginning of the game. You turn the game off and you don't play it again for a long time. But like, game over.
Just get frustrated, I think, these days, and just say it's way too hard for me to play anymore.
Right,
and
right.
I think Joe mentioned earlier, because we were talking earlier about how we feel that, I mean, I think I've talked to you about this before, and I've mentioned it on the stream before, that I feel like we're better at games than we used to be. Oh
yeah. Well, and I, like I said, I was so intimidated by so many of those NES games, and then it was just like, okay, I'm going to beat these, and I just got in this mindset of like, you see how we play games on the stream, like most of the time anyway, like total game over. You just get to the title screen, you press start again, you just go for it, and you get a little better each time. And I found that to be like so like kind of addictive, like this like slow progression of getting better and better at the game, and each time you play. And I think a lot of people are cheating themselves out of that experience when they're just using save states by default, because they assume it's too hard without actually like really trying, like, is this really too hard for me? Because I don't consider myself that good at games, but I'm good at just banging my head against a wall till it falls, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it's true. I mean, I think I was talking the other day that I think what I'm going to do next week for the stream is I'm going to play Contra, and I'm just going to keep on trying. I beat it without.
You've done it before, right?
No, I've never done it before.
Oh, you've never done Contra without the code?
No.
Oh,
I mean, we always just do it as like. But the thing is, like, when I was like hooking up all the systems, I tried it the other day, and I ended up getting to like level 5 without even having to use a continue, just by.
Well, see, if you're getting that far with like just casually booting it up, like that's not bad. Like that's a solid start. Like I always have to laugh when Contra shows up on like, you know, the list of toughest NES games or the list of toughest games, and the only reason people believe that is because the code was so well known and so accessible, and they just because of that they never really tried it, because they just bought into this mentality that it's super hard. As far as NES games go, Contra is not that hard.
No, I mean,
it's really not.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a fast moving game.
No, it is.
And I played it enough that I feel like I probably will be able to do it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think you could. I bet you can beat that quicker than you can beat Mario 3.
Probably.
Which I would contend is an easier game, but who knows? You know, Contra is not that hard. And I guess that's kind of my point. Like, I do feel like people maybe cheat themselves out of an experience by just kind of going for the cheats or the save states or whatever a little too easily. And so I agree with the things Joe said, but like I say, my addendum to that is, use those things responsibly. Yes, do it if they really are more fun for you, but at the same time,
I'm pretty sure you can just do that double jump and do the flip, and you can hurt enemies that way. You can like jump into them.
Oh, really?
Like tumble into them. I'm pretty sure.
But yeah, think before you cheat. Give an honest try before you cheat. Now, something that Joe said that I agree with, that I usually don't do, but I feel is like okay to do, and just for whatever reason, I can't. I've never quite brought myself to do is
you can jump on that pipe, that little end of the pipe.
But why can't I? You have to be moving sideways to double jump.
Right. You gotta use your grappling hook. It's like up and attack.
Okay. He was talking about use level select codes to practice the part of the game that you're having trouble with. And I agree with that, but I'm always I shouldn't. But I totally agree. I see nothing wrong with that. As long as you've done it before.
You've done something similar before.
Have I? Which game was it? I mean, I don't have a problem using a level select. For example, on the backloggery streams, we we've done Adventure Island, where that has Adventure Island 2 and 3 has infinite continues and a level select code. So that's the same as leaving your NES on overnight, but there's no reason to do that, so that kind of thing. Yeah. Definitely I'm okay with. Is there something over here?
So you just got this game yesterday.
Yeah. I actually texted you because there's so many Batman games on the Genesis that I can't keep them straight, I'm
right.
Sunsoft Batman is one of the good ones, right?
Yeah, I mean it's good. It was a big deal when it came out, because I remember EGM hyping it up a lot, saying, why did the Genesis Batman not come out in the US? It's such a great game. And then eventually it came out.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, it was much later than the Japanese version. They made a big deal about it. And I was saying that this is the NES version's music is always talked about as being so good, and this.
Oh, there was no number on that continue screen.
It's completely different music, but is just as good. I got to go back. I missed a donation earlier on from Aaron Welsh. There's a $2 donation saying, "Have you guys thought about posting on Float Plane?" Which I'm not familiar with that is.
I thought that came up before. Oh, that's right, grappling hook. I always forget the grappling hook.
Float Plane. I mean, I don't remember. I know the library stuff like that, but I'm not familiar with Float Plane. And then we had a $5 donation. Thank you from a Dimension, saying, "Is sequence breaking in Metroidvania cheating?"
I would say no if it's as long if it's not something that uses a glitch. I get that speed running is a totally different field.
Right.
But I feel like
sequence break, they're not doing it the first time they play.
I guess here's like my perspective. Like if you discover a glitch, like in the course of your play, like I think it's okay to take advantage of it. But if you like,
I accidentally discovered the invincibility in Target Earth.
Well, you've automatically beaten the game forever. But like I feel like if you discover a glitch like in the course of your play, like you like stun locked a boss in a weird way or something like that, I think that's okay. But like I feel like if you like heard about it, well, I don't know. I mean, like it depends on how glitchy the glitch is. Like for example, the NES Batman game. Like, I don't know how you beat Joker without just like getting like way up in his face and, you know, hoping and praying, basically. Like he's really hard. Whoa. That double jump is a little weird.
Yeah.
Whoa. Well, yeah, I mean, I guess it depends. Like when I think of sequence breaking, like I've done stuff where like I've beaten like the dungeons in a Zelda game in reverse order. Like I've done that in a number of Zelda games actually, where I don't know if this is like a true sequence break by the standards of the kids these days with their, you know, speed runs and all that. But you know, I've done stuff like, you know, I get the item in a dungeon Zelda game, and then I leave. You get the item in the next dungeon, and then leave. And then actually finish the dungeons in backwards order. Oh, that thing is bad.
Not using
turbo shield, turbo. See that was another thing that I was glad Joe said in the video, because that's the thing I think about a lot. But again, I don't know if that's something people really think about. Like
using
turbo, most systems, like I'm pretty. I always forget that I have the grappling hook. Most systems, I don't really like to use turbo. I'm not necessarily opposed to it, especially on like a replay or something. But like, I'm usually reluctant. But on the turbo graphics, there's just no reluctance at all. It's like, it's part of the system.
I don't know if anybody someone in the chat just did they just donate 0.95 basic attention tokens or BAT.
What's basic attention?
It's a cryptocurrency. Someone says you received 0.95 BAT from Uphold member. Thank you if you're watching.
BAT sounds appropriate for this stream.
Yeah. Indeed. But just kind of going back to the documentary series again, I guess my kiddos kind of interrupted it a little bit, like the discussion. But it just feels good that the response has been better than you imagined even.
Yeah, I mean, I expected it to be positive, but it's been such a relief to get that reception, because, you know, like anything, you work on for so long, and it's like you don't even know if it's good anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I feel like I'm about to find out whether there's infinite continues or not. It's looking promising.
Got a $5 donation from Jonathan Hinson. Thank you. He says, thanks for the heads up last week on the 8-bit M30 wireless for Mister. Got one this week, and man, what a killer opening to a Modern Doc series. Already watched it twice. Dang. Well, thank you. Thank you. It's a good feeling they have that out there.
Oh yeah.
Especially because, I mean, I said on Facebook where I posted, I said, we've been working on this for a better part of 2 years.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's got to be such a relief for you.
Yeah. I mean, the first interviews were shot in April 2018.
Yeah. It's crazy to think about that. I mean, I think that people are going to be surprised to see who shows up. And I mean, like you said, we'll never say never to doing maybe 1 or 2 more if we think that it can help round out something that's already been written.
Mm-hmm.
But for all intents and purposes, the shooting on this series has completed. Interviews on this series has completed. I mean, I'm sure that people say, "Oh, I hope you get this person to talk to," and I mean, we can only do as much as as we could, and we had to eventually call it like a.
Yeah. I mean, we are way over budget.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's yes, like way over the budget. But it's a relief, and I think that.
This game does not have customizable controls.
But I mean, we've talked about it a lot, and this is, I mean, something this size. This is probably the last time we'll do something this size unless we have like a team.
Yeah, like I mean, this has been an extreme strain on 2 people. Like. Yes. We had our friend Duke with us on some of the shoots, and like Joe was there when we interviewed Frank Cifaldi.
Yeah, and Steve.
Yep.
Who's not appeared yet.
He's not appeared yet, but he will.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I mean, but then for. And we've gotten footage from other people. Bob provided me with some great footage. But, for the most part, it's just us. And, I took point on writing it and editing it while, Coury has taken care of the channel for the last half year.
Yeah.
Which has been, so it's been a huge strain on both of us. A project of this scale is not for the bandwidth that 2 people can provide. It's something that frankly should not exist. Like with the, you know what I mean? Like,
yes.
Like it is a true work of passion because it like in the real world, this project does not make sense.
Yeah. I see that like Warren Hokie is saying, will the series get a Blu-ray release? And the plan is to do a Blu-ray release basically like right after it completes coming out.
There was even people who were asking for a VHS release, and it's like, well,
that's not out of the question. But I mean, it's not going to fit on a VHS. It's going to be it could fit on there in the lowest record setting. But I mean, I could only record 2, or I could record 4 of them a day, I guess. Or
it might be very limited.
Yes. But I mean, I think that we will, like Blu-ray release is going to happen. We still got to do the packaging for the M2 dock and release that. But I mean, we'll do this. This is going to be much more timely, I think. Considering it's going to be like 5 hours, it'll probably be like a dual layer. I mean, I'll have to figure out how to do dual layers, dual layer discs, and or maybe there'll be 2 discs. I don't know. Bob Corno's asking if we've seen Not for Resale documentary, and we have both seen it.
Mm-hmm.
We both watched it this week. It's good. It's good. It's a gorgeous looking film. Like those slider shots that they use like throughout are great looking.
My favorite thing was that one of the early was that just the end of the level with no boss? I can appreciate
that was Jack Napier. He becomes the Joker. Just became the Joker.
Okay. It seems a little more closely based on the movie than the NES game.
Yeah. But it's funny that it just like skips right to this, to like the museum.
This is like, is this the end of the movie?
No.
I've only seen the movie
where he
like.
rescues Vicky Vale.
Oh, okay. I saw the movie like once when I was a kid, and like once, like I don't know, like probably like 8 years ago, maybe longer ago than that. But yeah, it's not a movie I've seen a lot of times.
We got a $5 donation from our
look at this guy,
friend Shinjan PV. Thank you. It says huge congrats on the docuseries part 1. For when you're starting the My Life and Dadding channel. I need the tips come July. Well, congratulations. Congratulations. I have no desire to start that channel.
It's been so good to see the reaction to Matt's family in the video, because I felt really strongly that was something that it needed. That was kind of a relatively late addition. Like I had considered the script for part 1 done at one point, and I was like kind of waiting, like I was like, because Jeremy Parrish and Matt Lissy both live in oops, I want that health. Both live in North Carolina, so I was like, well, if like I get through writing oh, that's a hole. If I was like, well, if I get through writing most of the series, like then I'm gonna like ask Matt and Jeremy, if they would be willing to do interviews, if if I felt like there were some certain themes that I wanted to like flesh out a little bit more, and it's like I would know what questions to ask, because you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
To sort of touch on certain topics a little bit more. And so, I asked, and they both agreed to do it. But sometimes Matt works at a hospital near me, like once every month or two or something. Mm-hmm. And, so we've met up a couple of times when he was in town. He was just telling me stories about his sons, particularly his older son, who's like into Atari, and he's like Atari's like older than the stuff that like I was interested in. He's like, I don't know where he got this from. And he's like, he didn't want modded or anything. And I'm like, okay, like that is like such a cool perspective, like,
yeah,
here's this kid who not only wants an Atari, but like wants an Atari like as legit as possible. Like that's just so unusual. And I think people have, I want that health, but I think that's health, but I don't think it's worth it, actually. It seems difficult to get. But I feel like, most people in this stream, probably not the biggest Atari fans. Even people who grew up with Atari, like a lot of time is like, I don't really play anything much older than Nintendo, though, Oh, that's the health. So I feel like people get the point, even if they aren't like super into Atari themselves. It's like, if a kid in 2019, 2020 can like legit get into Atari, then there's hope for anything,
Yeah.
So I think it's a really hopeful note. And then and the enthusiasm of his younger son, especially talking about A Link to the Past, that wasn't like the direction I was like expecting the interview to go in. It was just like, when I was talking, I'm like, oh no. So there are a lot of continues.
Yeah.
But not infinite. Okay, well, you know what? I'm going to take Joe's advice and say it's okay to increase the players. It's okay to increase the players. That's what I'm only doing it for Joe.
Just the 5, not the 7.
Not yet. Not yet. But yeah, like I could tell like he was like wanting to like talk about the games, you know?
Yeah.
I was like, well, and you could hear my voice, and I was like, well, tell me some of the stuff you like about Link to the Past. And he just lit up, you know?
Yeah.
And I just thought that was so cool, you know? So it's something that I'm really happy managed to get into the documentary and was something that, you know, originally before I interviewed them, the last soundbite was in the script was that soundbite of Bob saying, you know, telling his story about he's run into several kids and they, you know, who have got into it themselves, you know, not, you know, it wasn't really because of their parents or anything. And, you know, he kind of told a specific story about, you know, after a convention. And that was the last soundbite. And I thought that was, you know, that was a good soundbite. And I thought it was good enough to end it on, you know, because I did kind of want to end it in a way that's like saying like, hey, you know, this stuff may still matter to future generations. But
right.
I still felt like
this is such a better way to do it.
I felt like there needed to be, I wanted there to be a little more impact to it. I wanted that point to have a little more punch. And so then, like, you know, after Matt was telling me about his kids, I'm like, oh, I wonder if he would be okay with me interviewing them. You know, and I'm just so thankful it worked out because it was a tremendous moment, I think.
Yeah, and everyone seemed to really connect to it. I mean, that was definitely my favorite part when I finally saw the whole thing. We had a $5 donation from Sadlid Desu. Thank you.
Thank you.
Says the only reason I remember Atari fondly is turning off ET when I got stuck in the pit. But adventure was my jam back in the day.
You know, I've heard a lot of people say that Atari, or not Atari, that ET is like not that bad in the grand scheme of Atari games. It's like it's actually kind of a good Atari game, but it's just like it hit like at that moment of market saturation that it just kind of became like the poster child of the story of the video game industry failing.
Right. I had a $5 donation from Joshua Helmke. Thank you. He says, Mark, it's not okay to make things easy on yourself, and you call yourself a gamer.
I don't know how much I can brag to the kids on the playground. I'm pretty sure Joe said that if I increase the lives, I can still brag to the kids on the playground. but if I use a Game Genie, I cannot.
Mm-hmm.
But I think increasing the lives. Okay, Joe says I can still brag to the kids on the playground by increasing lives.
Okay.
Is that even if I go up to 7 lives eventually? Can I still brag to the kids on the playground?
You can only go up to like the first step up. Kind of going back and talking about not for resale again. Because we didn't really get a chance to complete our thoughts. The film was actually screening like right before us at GDC this year, but they switched it around that now they're showing it's viewing on the first day. It's showing on the first day.
Oh,
okay. I mean, they kind of it's interesting. It's an interesting contrast, I feel like, especially to the Mater doc that just came out, because I feel like there's a big point of Not for Resale is about the nostalgia of it and about how ours very much makes it seem like, you know, there's more here than just nostalgia.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing, I think a big difference in between like comparing and contrasting like styles of documentary is that, I mean, Not for Resale is constructed completely based on sound bites, just like strings. There's no narration, and obviously, like our documentaries are heavily use narration to string subjects and topics together. And I've been ever since I watched it, and ever since I've watched both of them like 2 days apart, I've been thinking about it, about how I feel like us using narration. Some people might say that using narration is a crutch for storytelling, but
I'm always very impressed when like a story can be told purely through sound bites, for sure.
Right, exactly. But I feel like by using narration to string things together, it allows us to get deeper into subjects, or just get into more detail in general than just whether or not you have like the sound bites by the interviewee to lead into certain subjects, I guess. If you want to make something that is completely using just sound bites, I feel like you kind of got to go into it with more like such an idea of like how the stories is going to go, that you have exactly the questions and subjects you want to hit on. Right. In the
and for me, so much of it is made in editing. Like honestly, when we shot the first set of interviews in April 2018, like I was driving to your house, and I'm like, I don't even know what we're about to do. Like I had no vision for it. Like I just knew we were going to go, interview some modders, and Kevtris, but like I didn't really know what we were doing, and like I think you were kind of scrambling, last minute to, write something, get some questions, because we were going to go to Voltar's house the next day.
Yeah.
And you were writing some questions, and I was just, and you were the one who originally came up with it being like this multi-part thing. I forget how many parts you originally pitched it as. Maybe 3 or 4.
3 years. Right.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly, but you came up with the questions, and you came up with like the multi-part format. And I'm like, yes, okay, I feel so much better about this, because I knew I was going to be the one editing it.
Right.
So, like, I was just feeling nervous because I didn't have like that much of a vision for it. And like, I felt a lot better after you kind of made that initial pitch. And, and then so I sort of got some ideas cooking as it went. But, even like, in the time after we shot those initial interviews, and then we, continued to shoot more interviews. Let's see, we shot Brian Parker in this guy's
San Francisco.
jerk. We shot him in maybe July 2018, and then Rachel was October 2018.
And that Rachel happened because you were going on a work trip. It was going to be close by, and you rented a car and just drove to her house.
Well, no. I flew into her town.
Oh, and then drove.
And then drove to where it was 2 hours away to where I was shooting for work. The funny thing was, they, as people might remember, they used to ship cables from Florida. Now they ship them from Kentucky, and she lives like what? Like
5 minutes away from me.
Is it really that close?
It's so close.
It's hilarious. It was so funny because they had just gotten back from house hunting in Kentucky.
Here.
Like 2 days before I got there. And I think they moved there like in December, 2018. So like we could have just interviewed her, there at some point. But it was like, well, we may as well just go ahead and get the interview done since I'm going to be in the area, So it was good to just have it, to have that, done. So, because, the part of what I like about the fact that it's taken so long, I may have said this before, but, it's taken so long to put this together, but it's also kind of helped see like what sound bites stand the test of time. Because, rather than something that's like, about some timely thing that happened or something that just came out or
general, like overall and all encompassing thing. And it's not
correct
based on it. It could have been released basically at any time.
Mm-hmm.
It helped it become more like evergreen.
Right. That's very much my intent.
Because when we interviewed Ketris, see, Ketris is going to be the focus of episode 4. It's kind of like a deep dive into somebody who is basically considered to be the most successful person in the scene.
Right. And to see how they got this far, and like that, we interviewed him before the Mega SG was announced. Right. But see, that's the thing. It's not really about that. So I feel like that's okay. And I'm going to absolutely talk about the Mega SG. If somehow the Analog Pocket is out by the time it is released, which I doubt, I'll include that, I'll include that too. But it's not about that so much. It's more, how did he get there? That was an interesting sprite. This game does feel much more playable with 5 lives. Like 3 is pretty tight.
Yeah.
I still think it's so interesting that at this stage in time, Infinite Continues on the NES were pretty common, but on the Genesis, it's very, very rare. Like even late in the generation, it's not just a Sega thing. Like third parties tended to do it that way too. It's very
more of an arcade focus,
right? But it's very interesting to me. Like, I mean, it's the same thing with Master System in the sense that, like, oftentimes you had no continues at all. You had like maybe a continue code. The thing that's interesting to me though about Master System is like, Master System games don't feel like NES games. And I might be saying that in a slightly derogatory way. I mean, I like Master System, but like, I do wish more of the games felt like NES games. I love NES games. The NES is probably my favorite system, so it's always been interesting to me that they don't, like, you would think that like game developers of that time on 8-bit hardware would make similar games, and by and large they are not that similar.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they just needed to have something to differentiate it. And there's just a greater arcade style focus.
Yeah.
I mean, same with the Genesis.
But I almost wonder if that was like in, sort of some of Sega's third party like guidelines or something, like, oh, like you should make this feel like an arcade game or something.
Right.
I don't know. Is that my first game over? That might be my first game over.
I saw someone was like asking about Super Guns earlier. The Super Gun episode is still coming. I mean, there hasn't been a lot of progress made on it, especially after moving. But I finally got everything wired up this week, and things are happening a lot better, are coming together a lot more.
Right.
Especially
You feel more capable to make an episode now.
Yeah, well, as soon as I had this background done, like I'm gonna be jumping into. I guess we're doing. Like, there's 2 episodes that are like not crazy difficult that are gonna happen. It's gonna be like another, like the follow up to the first party controllers thing. It's gonna be the other one, and there's gonna be like an EverDrive update video that's.
Still not sure if it's going to be like a mini or like a regular episode.
I'm pretty sure it's going to be like a regular episode, but I don't think it's going to be. It's just going to look at the like newer versions that have come out. Recently, I mean, there's like the EverDrive N8 Pro is like apparently the parts used on the NES version apparently prevent it from working on high def NES systems.
That's weird.
Yeah, Crix has recalled all the ones that went out. They have not been sold, so he can like fix that part of them. It's just like switching over like certain parts in them.
It's too bad that happened, and then this. See, I was going to play Game Gear games tonight on the Mega SG, but then Analog said, "Oh, don't anyone who got the Mega SG adapters, don't use the Game Gear one because it can break your system's ability to detect the Game Gear adapter."
Right.
So maybe we hope to maybe have those within a month, because I've been so excited for that, because like I've been buying Game Gear games for the past couple of years, but never got a Game Gear. And so like I'm like, all right, I'm going to play those carts on the Mega SG. I'm looking forward to it.
And here we are.
Yeah.
Not tonight. Connor Terry keeps on asking if I have a Jason's Customs super gun, and I guess I sort of do.
It's not in your possession right now.
It's not. It hasn't been in my possession for like 2 years, I think, at this point. It had a very noisy RGB signal on it, and I lent it to Jason from Game Tech, and he's like, he was gonna see if he could fix it, but then I was like, it's not a big deal. And he's like been trying to figure out, like, in between him, he doesn't have anything else going on, and since then I've gotten a Haas, so like I don't even think about the Jasons anymore. Like it's just like he can do whatever he wants with it. I mean, maybe one day I'll end up getting it back, but I was so disappointed at the time because Jason's Custom super guns are super expensive.
And you thought you were like going, you thought you were splurging on the best.
Yes.
But you didn't know, you knew very little about the whole thing at the time.
I knew very little about super guns at the time. And I think a lot of it has to do with like the power supply that's used in it, combined with like maybe the metal case, and maybe the I don't know what it is, the thing that's in it. It's not the Neo bits, but it's like the like another part that like makes it. It deflated all of my interest and excitement at the time.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we filmed a significant part of the Super Guns episode like 3 years ago.
Like more than that, probably.
Probably 4 years ago.
Yeah, it would probably be 4 years ago in October.
But we I feel like Bob has been
state.
Huh?
Everything was like we
weren't.
I'm glad that we didn't release it because it probably would have, like, everything was so spotty at the time.
I know, and I feel like Bob has really been spreading the word recently that like, hey, you're like, not that many super guns are like safe to use. Like, you have to really know what you're doing to use most of them. But then, like, there's the Haas, where he says the Haas is safe for anyone to use. It doesn't matter if, like, you're, you know, an expert and you've, like, you know, put your board under a Vetroscope or, you know, whatever, and you're, you know, like, you don't have to be that technical about it to use the Haas safely. And I'm very soon going to be having a Neo Geo setup, which is going to use something new that I don't think the details are announced on yet. But you know, that will be, you know, a part of that episode. You know, because playing MVS is, even if it's like, you know, like a MVS like in a box like yours is, like, it's still, that's still technically a super gun, even though you've kind of dedicated it to the Neo Geo, you know?
Right. Yeah. Jera White is asking, other than the FrameMeister and OSSC, what are other scaling devices that are permanent additions to your gaming setup? I mean, you use the RetroTink a ton for this.
Yeah, I mean, the RetroTink is, you know, my main S-video and component recording thing right now. I did, however, order the Coury from Video Game Perfection. There's kind of a blink and you miss it cameo. If people were paying close attention to the text, there's actually a comparison using the Coury. And I was thinking,
which isn't a scaler of any kind. It's just a transcoder.
Right. It's really meant to use. It's really designed almost from the ground up to use with. How do you avoid this thing's shots? Oh my gosh. It's almost designed from the ground up to be used with the OSSC. I get that impression. I don't know a whole lot about its development, but you know, the physical design of the box is really meant like to be paired with the OSSC. It's a very similar shape and stuff like that. And you know, from the very little I've used of it so far, I mean, I'm really impressed. You know, with the RetroTink, I like using the RetroTink kind of standalone. But early on, people were talking a lot about using a HDMI to VGA adapter HDMI to VGA adapter, and then use it with the OSS, because you can get lagless of those, and use it with the OSSC's VGA input. But as far as I understand, the OSSC's VGA input does not have a low pass filter, which I didn't think it looked that good. I preferred the look of the RetroTink on its own. Whereas the Coury is kind of meant to be like almost like those missing component inputs for the OSSC.
Or composite and S-video.
Or composite and S-video. And I meant to... I kind of thought about streaming with it tonight, but then I thought, I don't know if people are going to be into seeing composite Sega Genesis.
Right.
I was like, if...
It's just nice.
I thought, like, maybe I'll stream like N64 with it sometime with S-Video. So I feel like that's what people would want to see.
Right. I actually just ordered one of them too the other day, just because it's just a convenient thing to have in the setup.
Mm-hmm. And I've got an extra spot on the G comp.
Right, same here. I mean, I have like 2 more spots left, I think.
I've got a spot that I've got one of the HD Retrovision extension cables plugged into one of them, and then there's one more that I don't have the Coury permanently hooked up yet, but I do intend to. I think I might look on eBay this week and order another Extron. There's actually one like not far from me, and I'm kind of wondering if he'll do local pickup.
You should ask. It doesn't hurt.
But
Bob Cornhole is asking if the is the choreo better than the Retro Tank? Will you guys do a comparison episode? And I guess like now that this first documentary episode is out, and now things are kind of settling down after my move, it's gonna like the ideas for episodes that we've been kind of sitting on for a little bit are going to be getting back into like regular rotation. Especially, you know, we'll be doing regular episodes in between the documentary stuff, which is, you know, if there's like 4 to 6 weeks in between documentary episodes, I mean, we can at least get a regular episode and a mini out in that time.
Oh man, listen to this music.
Oh, you're like...
I have no idea how far into the game I am.
Yeah.
But I mean, I want to do an MLiG mini on like, the Retro Tink and the Retro Tink transcoders. Like, you know,
yeah. And then the choreo will probably be in that,
and the choreo will be part of that. That's kind of my thinking.
Right. So things are going to start. I understand that we didn't have an episode for so long, and that's because
you were moving. I was working on the documentary, and I was building my room too. Like I spent like the first like week and a half, 2 weeks, maybe even of January, like finalizing the setup in this room, and you saw how it was utilized quite. These got like, what the heck? Like,
yeah, you can flip into them.
Oh yeah, that's right. I think that hurt. Yeah, that hurts.
We got a $5 donation from Craig Wan asking, I'm about to get an N64 again. I'm choosing between the Rad 2X or the Eon Super 64. Would love to see a video covering these and other new HD options. That's something we've been wanting to do as well. We don't have either of them. We don't have any Rad 2Xs or Eons, but I mean, we might be able to arrange for that and probably request. But that's something we've been wanting to do for a while as well.
Yeah.
We got a $2 donation from Asa Davis saying Klonoa is real good, and
look at all that stuff that's right over a pit. That was it.
Klonoa is real good. We got a $5 donation from Speedy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll be at the 7, Joe. I don't know if you're still watching, but
yeah, you're going up to 7.
Can't go any higher.
Speedy says, excellent work on the documentary. I watched it multiple times already. Wow. Any chance you can tell us the theme of each of the upcoming episodes? And yeah, we can do that.
Sure.
Oh, you want to? You can do it. Probably.
Oh, you do. I've explained it before, so why don't you do it? Get a different take on
it. So episode 2 is all about original hardware.
So that includes keeping it, functioning,
right,
and modifying it.
Right. And I will be the host of that one. Mm-hmm. We alternate back and forth. I'm hosting episode 2 and 4 and try host 1, 3, and 5.
Yep.
And episode 3 is like emulation and preservation.
Right. It's the basic theme is beyond original hardware, essentially. Like,
right.
And that includes I was going to include flashcards and ODEs in episode 2 because it's like about playing on original hardware, but I changed my mind to put those in episode 3 because like it's all about how do we play games with the absence of some critical piece of the original. That includes the original game, the original system, all that kind of stuff. So
yeah, I mean, it's
so yeah, episode 3 is extremely extensive.
yeah.
I part of me has a feeling that one might be the yeah. I feel like I mean Matt's kids already stole the show, and they're only in episode 1, or at least that's the plan. So I don't know. They might make the first episode the fan favorite. It's hard to say, but I feel like people are going to be really excited about the topics that 3 gets into. Like it was very hard to write. Like it, like I required a lot of Artemio help to understand some of the wording, because he's just so smart about preservation and that kind of stuff.
Right. Yeah, and I think it's important to state that just because somebody was featured in one episode does not mean that they're not going to show up again. They, like, all these people show up. It becomes a constantly evolving cast of characters.
Correct.
And people show up in later episodes when it's relevant.
Right.
So just because they were in this episode does not mean that they're not going to show up again.
Exactly.
Everyone shows up again, I think, except for, like you said, Matt's kids.
Correct. Some of them you might not see again until episode 5, but you know, you will see everyone again.
Right. Okay, so then episode 4 is it focuses on Ketris specifically, and you know, like, other people's experiences with him, like, and a lot of other people talking about the work that he's done, but it's just like a very focused look on somebody who is essentially like the most successful person in this scene. And it's just like, you know, it gets into his life. There's some really great stuff of just like sitting in the floor of like one of his rooms at his house, just like going through all his old projects, things that he just did for fun.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just
some of it is so ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny, actually.
Yeah.
But
I mean, we spent like 3 days there, like 2 or 3 days, you know, like long hours. Like we had an amazing interview with him, which was, God, it was like 4 hours long or something. Like that. It was crazy.
Yeah, it was long. Like it was also like 4 or 5 in the morning.
Right.
And Duke was like kind of starting to doze off, and he was monitoring the audio, and like, I was nervous about using the battery with the zoom.
Oh,
but
yeah,
you all were like, oh, it's fine, we'll be watching it, and he like looked at like just in time, like, oh, we gotta change this now. That would have been bad. I had this like, when I interviewed Rachel, like, we had been talking for like 50 minutes, and I like realized I had not hit record on the audio recorder.
That's one of my greatest fears, I guess.
I know, it's like I'm normally so careful, but I was, you know, I didn't get much sleep the night before, and you know, I was just, you know, there was so much going on, and I knew I was gonna have a late night, because then I had that 2-hour drive to go to where my freelance project was, and you know, but she didn't mind. She was a really good sport about it. I mean, in some ways it might have been good, because, you know, it kind of let her like collect some of her thoughts about some of the topics, and you know, it didn't necessarily come out the same way twice, but I was super happy with what we ended up getting. So yeah, I was very grateful that she wasn't mad about it.
We got 3 donations I got to go through. One of this most recent one was a pretty large one. We had a $2 donation from Asa Davis saying episode 7 will be about Klonoa. I mean, I would love to do like any kind of video on the people who made Klonoa. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I mean, one thought that I have, like, obviously, like, thankfully, this series seems to be something people like. That was weird. So kind of a thought I've had recently is like we said, we just can't do something quite of this scale with just the two of us. But like for future documentary stuff, oh gosh, that just went really bad. For future documentary stuff, I want to like kind of focus more on like individual people or small teams or stuff. And I'm not necessarily talking like Analog Frontiers, but I'm just talking in general. Like we did M2, we did Tom Du Bois. Like I want to do more stuff like that because just realistically, that's what we have the time for. Like this is very much a special case. Like don't necessarily expect something of this scale with so many people in 5 parts again, you know, unless somehow like, you know, like My Life in Gaming has like 2 million subscribers and we can pay people, you know?
I mean, we paid everybody who worked with us on this, but I mean, it was
like pay them like as a job, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, exactly. Like a
regular salary.
Like we had like a team that is just like, oh, we're doing this stuff.
Yeah. So that is not something I necessarily have any expectation of ever happening. So, but my point is like, I do have this idea that like, if we explore topics that are related to, you know, something that fits the title of Analog Frontiers. Well, I just jumped down there. We could probably.
I gotta get.
But anyway, my point was, like I could see doing like a non-numbered entry, like you know, like Analog Frontiers Gaiden or something like that, you know.
Yeah, I mean it's hard to say though. I mean it's. We had a $3.99 donation from James Style, who asks, how do you deal with work-related stress?
I mean,
I don't even think about how I deal with it. I mean,
yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. I mean, what I did to get this episode done was not like healthy.
Yeah.
Like I was working relatively okay-ish hours like the first like 2 or so weeks of editing, but like I crunched hard on this like the last like week and a half to 2 weeks where I mean for one I didn't take a day off at all for like 4 or 5 weeks.
Right.
And the last like week and a half to 2 weeks, I worked till midnight. Most nights. I mean, there was like one time I stopped at like 9. You shouldn't do that. But like I just like so badly wanted this first episode done and out more than anything. And hopefully I'll manage it a little better with the other ones. But you know, I think something that is, you know, when you say work-related stress, you know, I mean, it is true. Even though like we're making videos about stuff we love, I mean, I think that the whole like, oh, you know, do something you love and you'll never work a day in your life. That is like the absolute worst, stupidest advice thing to say. It is not true at all, unless you are a workaholic and like you like just get off on working, like constantly.
Right.
Like if that is your thing, then maybe that's how you will feel. I'm not a workaholic by nature. And that makes it really difficult that like I'm not a workaholic, but I'm also a perfectionist. And it's a it's a weird balance because like I don't want to work that hard really. Like I value free time extremely much.
Right. And I think the big thing to think about also is that when you're doing something that you love, you put a lot more attention and time into it just in the first place because you want it to be as good as it can be.
Yeah. So I mean, you know, no matter how much you love it, no matter how passionate you are about it, it's work, and you can't do it all the time.
Right.
You know?
Exactly.
So, but now that this is out, it's been well received. Like I'm not like going to drag my feet on the other ones exactly, but I think I think I won't feel as much pressure to just get the first one out to have something to show for it, you know?
Right. And not only that, but I mean, a big thing that took so long with us is establishing the style, the look,
True,
and the feel of all of it. And now that you have a overall template, it should come together like at least a little bit easier.
We
It's
didn't
like,
even
okay,
have
so
a title until like
a month ago.
Yeah, like basically 4 weeks ago. I would say we've been just calling it the Modern Doc, the Doc series. We were so afraid to commit to a title.
And finally, we had a crazy $25 donation from Supra Guy 88.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm sorry that it took almost the entire duration of your donation time there to get to your donation. I apologize, but thank you so much. Who says, fantastic job with Analog Frontiers. I really enjoyed it. Looking forward to more episodes. Your production values are phenomenal. Well, thank you. Thank you. I mean, someone was talking earlier about like, oh, do you think it's like better to shoot off screen? And I mean, I think that we feel like just shoot video like games off screen, like, and it gives you so much more to work with, I guess, in terms of like a style of something.
Right.
Like,
Well,
there's a lot of stuff
I liked using a mix, but I don't know if anyone noticed, but a very intentional stylistic choice was no screenshots of websites.
Right.
Anything that.
I mean, I guess we do use screenshots. Like
And it's fine for regular episodes, but like I feel like for a documentary, I kind of want it to be like on another level, I guess. And even though like, yeah, you get like rainbow artifacts and moire patterns and things like that when you're looking at it on a website or looking at it off of a PC CRT. But like I wanted to have that. You know, I guess this is kind of related, but something, and I get it. I'm not necessarily criticizing people who do this, but it's just like kind of one of my things that I'm always like very conscious of when I am writing a script. Is I always use, unless it makes sense for some reason or another, I always use present tense terms. You know, I don't say the Sega Genesis had, the Super Nintendo was. I say the Sega Genesis has, the Super Nintendo is, because it is. Like that technology may not be on the market anymore, but it didn't stop existing. The the Yamaha 2616 didn't just like, you know, walk out of your Sega Genesis and, you know, like go into retirement or something. Like it's still in there, you know? So
yeah.
So in other words, like the kind of my thought process behind the shooting off the CRTs is I wanted like this analog technology to like feel like something you could reach out and touch, like something that you could legitimately use And I think a lot of people don't even consider that. Like, it's like, oh, like a CRT. Like, they don't even consider the possibility that they could use a CRT. Like, right. CRTs was and were, not is. Like, I'm never going to use a CRT, you know? But sure you can. You know, so that was... And also, like, I didn't want, like, JPEG artifacts from, like, scaling stuff up and things like that. Like, I wanted to avoid that. Like, I wanted to shoot it off of a LCD.
Right. In the chat, I see...
They're not LCD,
brings up the
CRT.
point where it says, YouTube isn't like a real job because there's no real deadline pressure. Which is absolutely true.
But it's also
true.
bad in some ways.
Like a lot of it is just like, you know, it's self-imposed pressure.
Yeah.
You know, we don't want to go too long. I mean, we feel guilty if it's been a long time.
I actually like deadlines, but
yeah, like giving yourself your own deadline is good because it keeps you like focused on it. But I mean, we're not like answering to anybody, but I mean, I think it's just like we want to do as good of a job, you know, like we want, I guess the gaps in between videos, we want them to be like worth the wait, but we also don't want it to be so long. In terms of this, you know, there was a long gap in between episodes because we were just like really focused on it. But I feel that most people will probably feel that it was worth the wait, for like worth the time.
And people probably aren't as critical of like how long it takes.
Exactly.
Episodes to come out as it is in our head. We're just like, oh gosh, so sorry.
Exactly.
So
we probably make it way worse in our heads than it is for real.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's totally true. I mean we don't have a deadline, but we don't want it to be too long, you know?
Yeah.
Like we used to feel so bad about it, but then you know, it's like, okay, at least we're when there's like a long gap in between episodes, it's not like we're delivering something after that gap that is disappointing or it's like really short. You know, as time has gone on, our episodes have just gotten longer and longer with, you know, like 45 minutes to an hour each time. And, you know, this stuff is fully produced. It takes time, you know, but especially like this one took you so long because there was so much material to go through for like years of material essentially. We had a $2 donation from Hyboria saying, "Hey guys, looking forward to more Analog Frontiers." Well, thank you.
It's such a relief because, like I said, like I as much as we've been talking it up, like I don't think people I don't know if people were like excited for it because like they didn't know what it was. I mean, we told them what it was, but like now you've seen for yourself what it is, and it's so good that like people were saying like, oh, I can't wait for the next.
Right. I mean, the original plan was to like have them all done and release them a week apart.
And like now I'm like, how did I ever think that was possible? Like, how did I ever think that was possible? Oh man, this level was sandwiched by two shooter levels. Whoa. I mean, I've got to be. I bet the next level's the last level.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah.
Have you beat this before?
Yeah, I beat it on a rental.
So you are you're pretty sure you're going to do Contra next week.
Yeah, I think I'm going to do
that's
Contra.
Going to be so good. Oh, I'm so excited about that.
Ashura says YouTube can actually be harder that way since self-metering work time could be just as hard as having a deadline. I talked to John Linneman about this when he was here last time. It's like it's because we're both in a very similar situation where we have families, and it can be when you have like projects that you're like into and you want to get done. I mean, he obviously has a much harder situation because, you know, he is part of a company that and he's expected to have. I mean, he does have deadlines. You know, he has stuff because, you know, they have expectations and they are like a real business. I mean, so it's different for him. But we talk about how we'll be doing something and then we will like say, "Oh, I just got an idea.
really
I want to slip away and like work on this thing for a minute, like after dinner." And then suddenly it's been like you intend to like go into your workspace, do something really quick, and then get back to like hanging out with your family or spending time like the evening with your family. But a lot of times you suddenly get sucked into something that you were not anticipating, and then it's been all this time. All this time has passed. Oh, we had a $4.99 donation from Chad Landman saying, watching you guys over the last few years has made me fall in love with retro gaming all over again. Thanks for keeping up the good work. Well, thank you. Thank you. And there's a lot of people, like a lot of the comments have been great. It's just like, you know, this is the kind of thing that just like has made me fall in love with this scene, which is something that makes me feel like it's not just nostalgia that's a lot of people attribute to it.
Yeah, it's what is happening now, and it's the games you discover next, the mods you discover next, or the mods that you create next. You know, is the case for a lot of people. You know, that's what keeps them motivated.
Right. Exactly. But I mean, even some of the more recent comments, I thought it was great. What did someone say?
I haven't looked at the comments in the past couple of hours. I kind of took today off and just played Final Fantasy 14 all day.
That's fine.
Finally getting back to the story mode.
There's a comment from a couple hours ago that says, very good video. This is a world that I didn't know existed, which is very much a thing that you design this series around.
I mean, that's cool. That's cool because that was one of my main thoughts. Was like you know, we're at some point we'll throw it up on Amazon Prime, right? And and that was very much like I was like just envisioning like, you know, some guy, you know, likes video games or used to like video games. It's like, oh, video game documentary. I'll watch that and just blow their mind. That, I was telling people in our supporter Discord that like I was envisioning like, you know, the air conditioning guy or whatever, you know, like comes into my house and he's like, whoa, original Nintendo and, you know, stuff like that. And like, you know, they haven't seen it in so long, but then they see it and they have this like passionate response. You know, it's not something they've kept up with and they probably have no clue. Like, it was kind of funny. Like, it was the air conditioning guy who, you know, remember my wall of boxes that's behind me now. It used to be next to my, a little small room that has like my air conditioning stuff and like my heating and water stuff. Like that was like right after the AVS had come out, and I put the AVS. It was like right after the AVS came out, but before the NES Classic was out, and I put the AVS. The AVS box was like in the top left corner of the stack that was like right next to that door. And like he just like kind of paused and like pointed at it, like his mouth was like kind of half open. He's like, "Is that Nintendo that just came out?" I said, "I know what you're thinking of, no, but that's not it." So, but it is very cool. It does play Nintendo games, but plays the real cartridges. But you know, like that was who I was thinking of. Was like this person that like they see this stuff and it makes them excited, but like they just had no clue. They just had no clue of what it has become.
Right. We had a $2 donation from JJJ John saying, "Try so you go Toshiba Consumer CRT over Sony."
Well, I mean, only because I have not, like, I had like the HD, I had the HD Sony CRT, which, you know, is not something I particularly recommend. Like in terms of like consumer models, Sony's it's something I don't have much experience with. Like people swear up and down by them, but I don't really know what they look like. You know, like I've never I mean, my aunt and uncle may have had they had a 32-inch CRT that like I used to play on a lot. Like I would bring some systems and play on it, but it might have been a Sony, but like, I mean, at the time though, like I was definitely interested in video quality, but like I wasn't as in deep. So what I'm trying to say is I just don't know. I don't have the experience with Sonys. I'm not downplaying Sonys, but I just, you know, I mean, you know, we don't magically have access to you know, I just, you know, I would have loved to have bought a nice Sony, you know, at the time when thrift stores still had them, but I never ran across one. But they could be very good, but the reason I recommend Toshiba's is I know they're good, you know?
Yeah. We had a $5 donation from Eric Fleener. Thank you. He says, "Do you guys think you will do a video? Do you think you guys will do a video that looks at the recently released analog DAC?" And yeah, I mean, we're definitely going to do that. I think we were going to do the cartridge adapters and the DAC in one episode, but now we're going to wait. It's going to be a mini
for sure
style. But yeah, that is definitely going to happen. I really like the actual DAC. I think the case of it, like we were kind of testing out just a bare board version of it. So once we finally got actual finished versions, it has a weight on the bottom of it that's like, oh, this is like, it gives it like a heft to it, which I really like.
Which is necessary because like the board, just the board by itself is like, you know, the cables that you're plugging into it are like, you know, pulling it back and stuff, so it doesn't really like sit flat. Have you hooked yours up yet? I haven't.
Yeah, I
so does it like sit pretty well in your setup?
Yes. We had a $37 donation from our good friend Paul Sutton, who says $1 per doc dislike. Who could possibly dislike something so well done? 37. To those people, I say, try not to dislike any docks on your way through the parking lot. Yeah, it's well, thank you for that. Somebody said earlier, you know, like, oh, there's like early on in the release of it said, you know, there's been like seven dislikes on this. Like, I can't believe somebody would be so petty.
You know, I was looking at the number of comments, like it had, I think it got just more comments than the first party controllers video, which obviously has a lot more views. And documentaries, like, again, the Tom Du Bois, it didn't get the most views, but it had so many comments. They just seemed to generate an impassioned response. And there was at least 2 or 3 comments that I saw that specifically said, like, I never comment on YouTube videos, but, I just had to for this.
Yeah. There's definitely a lot of those kind of things saying, like, I never comment on videos, but I felt compelled to do it here. And that's good. I mean, it's like, it makes it all worth it. I mean, it really does.
Yeah, it's a good feeling. It's a good feeling to have even just part of it out,
Yeah. We had a $1 donation from Reers, who's a member of our Patreon, saying it was Reersay, maybe that's how it's pronounced. I apologize, but I'm just saying it wrong. I know the name. It's just like I never say it out loud.
Yeah.
I was reading a thread about losing saves today. I wondered if the memory card episode is coming up. And yes, I mean that's definitely going to be like that'll. I'll probably do that in between episode 2 and 3. I mean, we have a good amount of that script. I mean, I'm gonna just use this opportunity to
get some promised videos out of the way.
Yeah, just like some of our backlog. And speaking of backlog, I mean, you're going to Matt's house in like 2 weeks or something like that, right? Mm-hmm. Matt's house, and who's also going there? Is going to be there?
It's going to be Steve, Retrotech Steve.
Yeah, and he's going to be doing a tune-up of your 20L5.
Mm-hmm.
So the hope is like maybe there'll be a lot of material shot then when you there could be a calibration video. So wouldn't that be crazy if that happened? Wouldn't it be crazy if we just got rid of if we just took care of all these videos that we had been promising to do for a long time?
Yeah, that'd be totally crazy. Ooh, bit of a boss rush here.
Oh yeah. Is Bob a boss in this? That the boss Bob we got another $37. So maybe we can get $37 donations in a row.
Oh gosh.
I'm surprised that Clerks does not seem like a movie that you would have seen.
What?
I don't know why. You.
Me? What made you think I saw Clerks?
Because that's where the reference is from.
What reference?
Oh.
I didn't...
37. 37 is the reference to Clerks.
Oh, well, I thought 37 was the... Oh. I see. I was still thinking about Paul's donation.
Right.
About the... I thought that was the number of dislikes.
Well, no, there really is 37 dislikes, but I was making a reference to the movie Clerks.
Oh, okay. Well, I was laughing about the 37 dislikes. No, I've not seen Clerks.
Okay. Well, we got another $37 donation from Coach, who says matching the 37 dislike donations solely for Coury's wordplay. Well, thank you. It paid off. I saw it. I was like, oh. Well, thank you very much, Coach. We got a $5 donation from Ashura saying, I love working in games, but any real job has stress, even if you do love it. Yep. The difference is 9 to 5 jobs tend to be both stressful and unengaging. Yeah, I mean,
like I was not necessarily stressed with my old job, but
you could walk out of there and be like, okay, I'm done for the day.
Yeah, it's done. It's like, I mean, there were definitely times that it was stressful, and it became more. What made it stressful was, as my life in gaming got underway and started, becoming bigger and a bigger part of my time. I was just so annoyed that I was having to work on these projects when, I mean, nothing against, the projects or the people I worked with, but it was just like something I was just like so much more into. It was just automatically annoying by default that I had to do this stuff, you know, and that became stressful, you know?
Right.
And I felt guilty that I couldn't like contribute as much as, you know, my coworkers. Like I didn't have the energy, the time to commit to it as much as they did, because it wasn't the only thing I was doing, you know, unlike them, which, you know, it was, you know, their main job, you know, and I honestly, even though it was what paid the bills, I considered it secondary. It was not as important to me as, you know, putting more into my life in gaming, you know,
right.
And that did, it was stressful for that reason.
Oh, we got a $2 donation from JJJ John saying, appreciate the answer, guys. Recommend a Dreamcast VGA box. I have it's an orange one. Is it like a Mad Catz one? I'm not sure if the older ones are better made than the ones that Retrobit came out with or not. It seems like it's more complex, the older one is, but I'm not sure if it's better. That's something that I will get into when we do the Dreamcast RGB episode.
I recently got the Retro Access cable, the SCART cable that has you know, a 15 kilohertz, 31 kilohertz switch. So you can use like 480p with the OSSC. It looks great. That Grandia 2 shot in the documentary. It's during Jeremy Parrish's segment. That was recorded with it. The only problem I have right now is that I thought it was an issue with the Toro, but like my video like started turning yellow, and now I've kind of discovered it's just like an issue with my Dreamcast, and I'm sure it can be fixed. Like I have to, like if I hold the cable, like if I put pressure on it, then like it's fine. But it was an issue with the Toro too. And I've got like the other Dreamcast that has the GDMU in it, and it's fine. So, but I mean the cable looks really good. And you know I expect the HD Retrovision cable to perform similarly. So it really depends on what you're hooking up to. I've actually got like that. There was that shot of Sonic Adventure 2 on a PC VGA monitor, and that is actually just using a cheap, I don't even know if it has a brand name, just a cheap just VGA cable. It's not a box. I think that comes with limitations, like, you know, you can't get like 15 kilohertz stuff out of it, but it seems fine. Like I had a little trouble with it on the OSSC, but I kind of suspect that might have been because of the output on my Dreamcast. I didn't realize until more recently that it was a problem with my system. And I actually didn't think it looked that bad. I mean, I didn't do any like hardcore like comparisons with it, but I didn't think it looked that bad on the OSSC, and certainly on the VGA monitor. Like if you're just hooking up to like a VGA CRT, like I think you'd be okay with just a cheap generic VGA cable. I mean, I say that having, not put in like the research required yet of a Dreamcast RGB 200 video yet, but like just based on my casual observation so far, like if you are hooking up to a PC CRT, I think just a cheapo straight cable like, probably fine.
I missed a donation from Hyboria 12 minutes ago saying, well, thank you. He says, oh my God, try 4 CE. Now I get it now. Yeah, I mean, it's not used. I mean, I like that a lot of people in the comments for the documentary said, oh, they're like, he's like ditching the try name for this. Like, that's how I know it's serious. I mean, I guess we try to, like, for the documentary stuff, we, you know, use our like full. I mean, I always use my full real name, anyways. But I mean, I think that because
well,
I
that's
think
because
you
never had like an online name that stuck.
Well, I mean, I did for a long time, but I guess when I got when I took a break from games and came back, then I fully like jettisoned it.
Yeah, like I mean, you know, my online name is just kind of stuck. Like most people that knew me originally online, like just call me Try. You know,
right?
That is, you know, that's just how it's been. So you know, I've continued to use that name for MLiG, but you know, I think there was one comment that's like, "Oh, good, we're finally ditching the Try name." But well, it's like I still intend to use it for regular episodes. Like, like you know, I don't want to say that like documentaries are like you know, super serious times or anything, but it is like it is like a step higher on professionalism.
Yes.
Than like our regular episodes, which I consider a little more casual. You know, I did a different like sort of tone of read for this, like you know, and
I mean that's how they are.
And I avoided, you know, avoided using words like you know, first person, second person terms. You know, me, we, you.
Right. I mean,
you know, I think there might be one part where in one of the scripts where I used a you, and I just couldn't think of a better way to put it, and I thought it was okay in that context, so I kept it. But
well, I mean, like we don't want to insert ourselves into our documentaries at all.
Right.
Oh, yeah, we are just telling the story, essentially, and that's why we only appear at the very beginning. Right before the intro, and then we're it's just like establishing that we are the narrators. We had a $2 donation from Joshua Helmicke saying 500 million, but Try has to live stream Clerks. Well, the channel would probably get a
takedown.
Yeah, probably get a strike for that. I mean, I'm gonna go on a limb here. I say like I don't think Try would like Clerks in any way.
I know it's a famous movie.
I feel like he would not like any of Kevin Smith's movies. I mean, I think that there's other people in this chat that probably will agree with me. I don't think
doesn't strike you as my kind of humor.
No, I think that I feel like you would actively dislike it.
Do you think I should do another run, or should I like
do another run? I feel like you were very close to finishing that time, apparently. We had a $4.99 donation from James Ingram. Thank you. He says, Doc was first thing I watched after moving into my place. Now I'm packing with the stream. Thank you guys for the great stuff. Well, you know, it's cool that you can. It's exciting that you can move and then watch that right away. I guess. I mean, thank you. It's. I mean, like when I've been doing work down here in the new basement, I've been putting on different YouTube stuff and marathoning various things in the background. I've been kind of getting into this this filmmaking channel called Gerald Undone. There's like some film and video gear, and also he's been doing this really good series on. He's been visiting other YouTube people's studios. And since I'm like turning this into like a studio down here, I've been using it as to get ideas. That's been cool. I recommend Gerald Undone if you haven't seen it. It's like Gerald Undone probably DSLR shooter, Caleb Pike, probably my favorite film YouTube people. It's funny. I think if you're familiar with Caleb Pike, I feel like he looks like he could be my brother. if you ever saw, he looks like him and I could be me brothers. Yeah, I'm always to probably try the best shot at enjoying a Kevin Smith movie, and probably, but I mean, I still don't think that he would like it. I mean, Clerks is probably my favorite because it's just it's the first one, but Dogma is definitely my second favorite. I really like Dogma a lot. I feel as though after Dogma there was a distinct drop in quality and in how much I enjoyed these movies, especially since it felt like it was trying, like the jokes were trying so hard to be over the top where it didn't feel, I mean, I guess up to that point, like the style of writing felt more like off the cuff. It felt just more like people were just hanging out talking. It was about the way that they were just talking about the stuff more than the content of the jokes themselves. And it just seemed like it got to a point where it was just trying to be as weird and as gross as possible. I did see Jay and Silent Bob reboot. I saw it in the during one of their the AMC's events that they had it. And I mean, it was okay. It was okay. Clerks 2, I feel, is a great follow-up. See, I mean, not as much as I would have liked to. I felt like it still fell into that same category where it was trying to be too gross for its own good. I mean, it definitely has its moments. I love the final shot of Clerks 2. The pull out back to the store and then it goes to black and white and with Soul Asylum playing. That's probably the best part of the whole movie. That's the last shot. Would you guys undeaded dysfunction is saying, would you guys ever cover filming screens physically rather than through capture? Do you really do it well? And I'm thinking I'm always struggling with the frequency flickers. I mean, I could see doing a mini on that. That would actually be kind of fun. Yeah. Like recording off of CRTs. I mean, it's just
one of the toughest things is even when you have it perfectly synced up. There was a shot that I really struggled with. It was the one of Link kind of going into a palace in Zelda 2. And I had the hardest time with that shot for some reason because it was... come on. I don't know why I should... I had the hardest time with that. Dang it.
Oh, Batman just turned into the Joker at that time.
I had the hardest time with that shot because even though I had the refresh perfectly synced up, you could see as the screen scrolled, there was just a really strong tear and it looked terrible for some reason. To be honest, one thing that I don't fully understand is the behavior of the tear is different depending on how close you are to the screen.
Right.
Whether you're at an angle or straight on, it's different. And I honestly don't know if I could explain why. I just kind of work at it until I get as good as I can. And sometimes I'll accept a little bit of tearing in it, if it's not super obvious, but it was just somehow the way I was trying to shoot that Zelda 2 shot, it was just really, really obnoxious. You know what's another interesting thing? There, no matter what I did, that shot of Duck Hunt, there is a little slight, it's subtle, but there's a dark line that goes up the screen. I think it's like when the dog is like coming up with the ducks, and it happened every single time. Like every single time, like consistently at the same point. And I like tried to see if there's anything I could do about it, and it happened every time. And even though like it was synced up to the proper timing for NES games. And like I wonder if like it had something to do with the like if the gun like causes like the timing to reset or something. It was really interesting. Like it was very consistent. Like I was wondering if there's like the amount of time between the time you fire the gun and then I would see, you know, when the dog came up. It was exactly the same every time. I just thought it was really interesting.
It's weird. It's just like that game.
Well, I didn't try like Hogan's Alley or anything.
True.
But like, I'm just wondering if like the behavior of the gun caused that. Oh, come on.
But I could see doing like a mini on that. That would be kind of fun to be something a little different. But yeah, I mean, you did a lot of off-screen shooting in this one.
I actually haven't watched it, but I know LGR did a video because it's actually there was a comment about it when I'm shooting off the CRT going through the Retro RGB website. There's actually a shot of an article.
That's true. I feel like we helped him decide on the GH5. I think we told him to get the GH5 because I'm pretty sure that we were the ones like I.
Well, I haven't
asked us, and we said the GH5 has a synchro scan on it, and that's like the reason to get it.
I didn't know he got one. Actually.
Yeah. I mean, he's been doing it for a long time, and I'm pretty sure that on Twitter we talked to him about it.
Mm-hmm. That feels a little familiar. But yeah, I haven't watched that video, but that video was posted on Retro RGB, and it's in the B-roll as I'm scrolling down, and someone said like, can we just appreciate that there is a camera shooting off a CRT in 2020 showing a video link to a video that has a thumbnail of a camera shooting off of a CRT in it. It was funny. I didn't think about it, you know.
Yeah. Craig Wan was wondering if we're planning on doing histories of main gaming companies before they made the jump to video games, like when Sega made games for military servicemen, hence their name Service Games.
I mean, that's like interesting, but that sounds like Norm's.
That sounds something
Norm's
more
area.
Like, yeah. Who had a very fun video he released this week about looking at his older videos and looking at things that he got wrong.
Oh, that had to have been so painful.
I mean, maybe it is, but I mean, like, he had a good point, and when he said that he made that video, he says, you know, instead of like pretending like I didn't get things wrong, like let's like just face it head on.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it is. It's like it's really frustrating. I mean, it happens. Like,
it doesn't. I mean, yeah.
There was a comment recently that, you know, I left a reply to, and this is something that I'm willing to be wrong on, but this is something that there is weirdly. I mean, of course, it's been, you know, more than 2 years. Has it been like 3 years since the Game Boy video?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I feel like December is going to be 4 years.
Oh my gosh.
I mean,
obviously it's been a while since I looked at this, but like there at the time, like it was, and I talked to a bunch of people, like there is weirdly not that much information out there about like the information that I feel is trustworthy on what the original DS screen is. Like people just throw around the word, oh, it's a backlit screen, it's a front lit screen. I don't think they're really even thinking about what it is. They're just saying it's a screen with a light, but they'll say backlit or front lit without thinking about it. They're just saying, oh, it has a light, or it's articles from like E3, like the year it was unveiled, like I just there's nothing there. There's nothing that I feel really is like a definitive word on the subject, at least at the time that I researched that video. Like it does not make sense to me for it to be front lit. I think people call it front lit because it's about as bright as a Game Boy Advance SP. It's a dim screen, and the PSP came out like just a couple of months later and it looks so much better. So they're like, oh, that's backlit and that's front lit. I don't think it's true. I'm willing to be wrong, but I'm pretty convinced. I am doing so bad. I'm pretty convinced that it's backlit. Like you can, if you take the original DS outside and try to play it in the sunlight, it looks even with the light off, it looks terrible. It doesn't. It's not the same kind of additive light effect. Oh my gosh, why didn't my thing work? It's not the same like kind of additive effect that like the a non-AGS 101 GBA SP has when you're outside. Like it doesn't really seem to help. Is my point. So I'm just, and I feel like there's something else about the nature of when you turn the screen off, and I forget what it was because it's been a long time since I researched it, as I said, but I mean, you can't see, like if you look like sideways on a GBA SP, you can see it. You can see the light. That's not there on a DS. How can it be front lit if you can't see the light from the front, huh? Tell me that. Does anyone in the chat here seem like they actually know? Has anyone said anything?
No, I'm not seeing anything. Let's say maybe I might. I didn't see anything.
You would have to have substantial proof, but I invite someone to prove. I mean, it's not like I've disassembled a DS screen, but. Like I'm convinced it's backlit. It's dark, but that don't mean it's front lit. I mean, take a Game Boy Advance SP, not non-AGS 101. Take that outside, and take an original DS outside. And hold it up to the sunlight and tell me which one you can actually see. The original DS looks terrible outside. Mm-hmm. I mean, not that the Game Boy Advance looks great outside either, but like it is noticeably better. And two, like, can you make a front lit touchscreen? I kind of doubt it.
Corpse 413 saying, magazine, should I use tape or just grin and bear it? You mean for the spines and stuff? I think I saw your comment earlier. And I mean, I haven't done anything with them. I mean, if I have things with like torn spines or like the cover has fallen off, I just like have started slowly moving mine into bags with boards in them. I mean, I think that's a safe way to do it. I mean, I haven't used tape at all, honestly. Someone was saying that the original DS has the best D-pad of all time.
It's
don't see it
okay.
now.
I remember being really into, I guess, like the clicky feel of the, like, that was a time where I was like, it was actually kind of interesting because like the DS had like really clicky buttons, and the Lite had more of a traditional mush to it, I guess. And then the DSi had kind of clicky again. And they were just kind of going back and forth. And I remember I was like at the time, like kind of going back and forth. It's kind of like, oh, like it feels really responsive. For it to just, you know, it's instant click, but then like kind of the softer feel is nice. Like, I guess I don't have like a firm preference these days.
But you've been saying you're getting into using the buttons on the Switch.
On the the button D-pad on the Switch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. It feels weird. I feel self-conscious about it because like people like act like that should not be. like there's no way you should be okay with that. And it's just like it was like probably like a couple of years. Like really it wasn't really until last year actually. Like cuz like I had not played that many like D-pad games in handheld mode on, and I was at my parents' house, you know, some point early last year, and I had my Switch with me, and that was when I started playing Dust. And I was like, you know, this feels kind of good. And over the course of the year, I played a number of like predominantly D-pad games on the Switch, and in portable mode. And I was just like, this is fine. Like it's better than the Switch Pro D-pad. Like it's weird, but I think it is good. It's very responsive. It's very precise, and it looks like it should feel weird, but it doesn't feel weird to me.
Where do you think Joker got all this military equipment?
Right? I don't really. I mean, does he have anything like that in the movie?
No.
Like, it's been so long. It's a shame that the flying episode is so short in this. Like, this is like super long, and then that's like really short. Like,
yeah, it is.
Like, it's a shame in the sense of like
better.
They obviously like put a lot of effort into it.
Yeah. So you say you've only seen this movie once?
I'm pretty sure I saw it as a kid. And then like in recent years, like it's definitely on my rewatch list. But it's been a long time since I saw it. Yeah.
It's interesting.
Or I've not seen it that much. Like I know for sure I saw Batman Returns as a kid.
Yeah. I mean, I saw this one. I mean, summer '89 when this came out. I mean, I think I saw it 4 times in the theater.
Wow.
I mean, and a lot of that is because my brother wanted to see it over and over again. And it's still very good. I love the look, and the music is absolutely iconic in this movie. The music has never been topped in any other Batman movie, as far as I'm concerned. Although I did like the Nolan, like the sound of the music in it, like worked really well, especially when it would usually go like to the ending credits in those movies. I always love that. But the The theme is so good in the original. In this and Batman Returns, and they like got rid of it in Batman Forever, Batman and Robin.
Do you think those were considered part of the same continuity?
Oh, they definitely were.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw. I don't think I saw both of them back in the day, but I know I saw the Arnold Schwarzenegger one.
Yeah, I mean that's considered that was the one that like kind of killed it for a while.
Yeah.
Because I mean this one, the original Batman spends all his time trying to get away from the cheese of the TV show, and it slowly moves back towards that, the Batman and Robin, Batman Forever. I mean, there's a lot of weird stuff in this movie that is just like not even part of Batman's character. Because I mean, I think I read something about how Tim Burton had like never read a Batman comic in his life. He said,
really?
When he like made this movie, he had never read a Batman comic. Like all the stuff where it's like,
oh, you
like
gotta
hanging upside down in his bedroom, like as a like a bat for like no reason. Like Vicky Vale stays over, she wakes up in the middle of the night, and he's just like hanging there upside down for who knows why. You know, it's just like this weird thing that he's doing that is like never talked about again in the entire movie or like in any other movies. Okay, yeah, so he said he never read one or would never read them or something like that if they were beneath him. But I mean, I guess, yeah. And, you know, I guess, like, that explains a lot.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot. I kind of had this guy figured out. Like, when he jumps, like, you just kind of meet him in the air and punch him.
Yeah. But, I mean...
Ooh, that was my last life. I didn't even realize that. I probably would have choked if I knew it was my last life.
It's Jack Nicholson is just having so much fun in this movie, which is I love, and it's just like when he does his Jack Palance impression to Jack Palance, and he's like, "You are my number one." A guy. It's so funny. It's like I love doing that. I do that to my son all the time. I go like, Monty, you are my number one a guy. He's like grabbing his shoulders and doing it. But I mean, like, and I just never liked any of the other ones nearly as much as this one. I remember, like, Batman Returns at the time was kind of a disappointment. I remember, and I've only seen it a few times.
Honestly, it's a movie that I've never really heard any opinions about, to be honest.
On Batman Returns,
yeah.
I like the Christmas setting for it. You know, I like Christmas time settings in movies that aren't Christmas movies.
Sure,
like that's one of my
Die
favorite
Hard,
things. You know,
whatever.
like Lethal Weapon, and that's one of the things I like about Iron Man 3 a lot. It takes place during Christmas time.
Does it? Oh yeah, it does. That's right.
Yeah,
it's not really front and center. But yeah, it's true. It does.
So what do you do to get shots of the show devices games rotating like you have a motorized turntable? I mean,
we actually haven't done that in like years.
Yeah, I mean, there's only times. Sometimes we'll use it if it's used, but we have a motorized slider, like a sliding.
It's on rails.
It's on rails, and we have It's by a company called Rhino. They're definitely the most expensive piece of equipment that we both have, for sure. But I mean, I feel that we've gotten more than our money's worth out of using them.
Yeah.
At this point, especially that we're Kickstarter backers for the Rhino Arc 2, which allows for, what is it, like 3-axis movement, so it can go up, down, left, right, and then you have a Z-axis using it with the slider.
It's still very new and has a lot of firmware issues, but we've been using it pretty heavily.
Yeah, I mean, we've been using it for 2 years now, and
well, I meant the Arc 2.
Oh, the Arc 2. Yeah, we've been using it since we got our Kickstarters
September,
back
October,
in like August, September, October. Yeah, during that time. I mean, it's easy to make dynamic shots using it.
Yeah, and it's also, it feels like the shot holds your interest for longer as well, so you can get away with using a shot on camera for longer. That way. So it kind of helps in editing a bit.
Yes. Is that game over? Okay.
No, I think I've only I mean, I was doing pretty bad at first, but I've still overall continued probably only a few times.
I have seen Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. It's the same director or same writer as Lethal. Did he write Lethal Weapon and Predator? Because he was in Predator for a second, then he directed Iron Man 3. He did a really good movie that I really liked. The Nice Guys. It's pretty good movie. But Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, I always think of I can't remember a whole lot about that movie, but I always think of that scene where she slams the door in Robert Downey Jr.'s face, and his hand was in the door, and it cuts off his finger. Yeah, Shane Black, and he's in Predator, the original Predator, for a second. He has a very small speaking role. Didn't they do that so that he could work on the script while they were shooting it? They couldn't think of a way to get him there to the studio wouldn't pay for him to be there during the shoot, so they cast him as a really minor role during it.
Oh, was he the glasses guy in Predator?
Yeah.
I feel like I saw this story somewhere, but I can't remember where.
But I did not see the new Predator.
I've only seen Predator 1 and 2, and I actually saw the second one first, and I did not like it. I'd be interested to see it again, though, now that I've seen the first, and see if my opinion changes.
Wait, if you saw what?
I saw Predator 2 before I saw the first
Oh,
Predator.
yeah. Interesting. I mean, Predator 2 gets a lot of hate, but I think I always really liked it.
I was not impressed, but I'd like to see it again.
It's got Bill Paxton in it. And he's during that time when he was still in his Hudson phase.
I always get him confused with who's the guy that plays Lone Star?
Oh, Bill Pullman.
Yeah, I always get them confused.
Yeah, Bill Paxton, he was always really good in everything. I mean, it's a shame that he's no longer with us. I was like last year I was rewatching. I hadn't seen it in so long. It was Weird Science, and Bill Paxton's in that.
Yeah.
And he's like, he is so obnoxious in it. But that's why he's remembered, I guess, in that movie. But I gotta say, Weird Science, not as good as I remember it being. I was like, oh, this isn't as good as I
I saw that for the first time only a few years ago.
Yeah.
It was okay.
Yeah, this moment. It's amazing that most of the movie takes place during the party at their house.
I honestly don't really remember very much about it. It did not make a huge impression.
Yeah. I'm taking my kids to see Sonic tomorrow. I was gonna take them today, but
do they know anything about the character?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, they've been asking to see it for a long time.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, I was surprised when they said, can we go see Sonic? I'm like, I'll go see Sonic with you. I mean, I don't feel like it would be like I was thinking like, I'll probably wait till video. At first when the first trailer came out, but I absolutely respect the work and effort that they put in, and then the word is that it's very good.
I saw an interesting point, and I don't know if this was like something that the producers were actually actively thinking about, but I saw someone point out that Sonic was becoming popular like right around the same time that like Jim Carrey was. So like for like the adults who might be taking their kids to see the movie, like Sonic and Jim Carrey are like both nostalgic.
Huh.
I guess.
I mean, yeah.
Which is an interesting perspective, I guess.
We had a $5 donation from Scott F. Thank you. He says, great job on the documentary. I love the little guy's interviews.
Well,
I have a 6-year-old and brought him up on my Atari and NES. Also built O-Droid Go with my 4-year-old. I'm not familiar with the O-Droid Go.
Sounds like a DE10 Nano project.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like I'm glad that Sonic ended up being good because it seems to have defied basically everybody's expectations, and that's always nice. I'm gonna take him to see it. I was gonna take him to see it tonight, and then it was like, oh, it's gonna be like kids tickets are like $15, and my ticket was gonna be $18. I was like, oh, I mean, I have no idea why. I'm like, we'll go see it like maybe 1 o'clock tomorrow. Like matinees will be like save you like $1 or $2. I was shocked when I was like, oh, it cost me like nearly $50 to go see this movie. I don't know if I'm prepared for that today.
Yeah.
Even if it's just like a $5 total savings. So we're gonna go kind of early tomorrow.
I am very much a matinee guy. I don't see much value in like going to a movie at night is not worth an extra cost to me.
Yeah. I mean,
unless it's like a movie that unless it's like an opening night kind of thing, it's it's fun to see a movie on opening night.
Yeah, exactly. And especially now I got to drive over there now that it's no longer walkable for me. I don't know if
yeah.
did I announce that we sold the old house?
I'm sure you did, but now it's like officially like out of your hair.
Yeah, we closed on it on Wednesday. I'm not sure if how much I went into it if I had mentioned it, but I mean, we put it on the market on a Wednesday and we had an offer by Thursday evening.
You are so lucky.
Yeah, and then and then everything moved so much quicker because the person buying it is going to turn it into 2 apartments. So we're paying cash. So there's no like bank loan or anything that they had to worry about. So everything moved super quick. But just that happening was such a relief because I was so afraid of having to pay 2 mortgages.
And it never overlapped even for 1 month.
It did, but I mean,
but now
you get that.
now now you're paid.
Yeah. So it feels like a big relief. I mean, we probably got a little bit less than what we wanted for it, but I was like, let's just do it because if it doesn't sell right away, and we're paying double mortgage, like we're like losing that money over time.
And it was a unique situation. You didn't know how attractive it was going to be to like someone who just wanted to buy it as like a single family home.
Right, because I mean, it'd be challenging for. I mean, that's the reason we ended up selling it, because it was going to be challenging as the kids got older. It'd be challenging to everyone to have their own spaces to do stuff. And
this is feeling like the NES game. I remember there was like a last climb. Oh man, I don't know if that's a forever checkpoint. But I hope so. Oh. Oh gosh.
GameStack's back and he says, "Wow, you haven't beaten this yet?"
Well, you know. What can I say? I didn't grow up with the Genesis.
He's close. We're getting close.
Is there any way?
Can you jump strap and use your grappling hook in the air?
I knew that was a bomb, but it didn't hurt me. I don't know.
Everyone is like, there's a small amount of people in the chat that are freaking out that Joe is in here.
It's not an uncommon occurrence. If you want to come to our have a little incentive to come to our streams, see Joe.
I have no idea how hard Joker is in this.
He's really hard on the NES, but you can also cheese him.
Yeah. Oh, GameStack says that the Joker is piss easy in this version.
Well, we'll see.
So,
oh, I hope that was a forever checkpoint. Oh, thank goodness. That music didn't lie to me. Okay.
Yeah, $2 donation from Container 7 with no message. Thank you.
Thank you.
Adam Jenkins says I like GameStack. They provided a good tutorial on how to clean my old games one time.
Not your old games, your stupid games.
Yeah. like my favorite part about that is using like the pressure wash,
Yeah.
and like the bouncing around.
Oh.
Oh yeah, that's true. Scott brings up the don't walk sign.
The don't
in
walk
this.
sign
Was always used as Electronic Gaming Monthly's example of the clarity of RGB versus composite.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, they had like articles about it.
But like, did it not really sink in back then? Like,
Well, they were talking about it, but I don't think that it was like not it was like a part of an article on a page.
so like, did you really remember that whole thing? Like,
I remember the image and everything and wondering how it was like it didn't quite click with me like what was even going on.
yeah. They didn't really explain like how they connected.
Yeah.
Like, how
I mean,
they
the
hooked
thing
it up.
is like at the time I was probably still on RF, and I remember being shocked at the jump in quality when I went from RF to composite.
See, I
remember-
never thought it was that. I never thought it was that big of a jump.
Yeah, for some reason for me at the time I remember being really shocked
I mean,
about it.
obviously, I'm sure it depends on your TV.
Oh, I think I hear Sophia. Sophia? Here she comes. Come here. She was like, meow.
Oh, what's down there? Oh no!
What? You die?
No, I didn't
Oh.
die, but
You just fell all the way back down to the beginning?
yeah, there were some goodies on the way that I missed.
Oh, no.
Probably not worth it though, because the enemies respawn. Oh my gosh, that was a long fall.
Or so. Up here. Yeah. Come here. You come and say hi?
So does Joe have any hot tips for fighting the Joker? I'm going to consider the Joe Redifer strategy guide to not be cheating.
Punch him in the face. I think.
Really? That easy? Most enemies, it's too difficult to really get that close to their face.
Come here, Soph. Come on up. Come here. There she is.
Oh, come on. Oh,
You want to say hi? You fall all the way down again?
It's something about like the jumping out
You can
that.
punch those. Joe says you can punch those fire-breathing dragon things.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You want to talk into the? You want to talk on the microphone? Come here.
Oh, so you can.
Come here. Oh. I'm just gonna try to get her to purr into the microphone. Did you hear that?
Nah.
Come here. Oh. Kat she really likes the new place. She's pretty happy now. I think she does not look, or does not, I think that she misses her boyfriends that would sit on the other side of the windows, the other house. But that's it.
Okay, I think I can just walk left. Okay. Ooh, now I've set myself up for some hard jumps.
We got a $2 donation from Josh Way saying $2 for Sophia's appearance. She doesn't show up very often. She's slightly off the side of the shot.
Well,
I wish I could make her come back here a little
I'm stocking up on batarangs at least. Actually, could I just like... I could just like... do this. This isn't cheating. I discovered this.
A 99-cent donation from JJJ John saying it's just like an emoji of a face with a little
I don't
sweat
know.
going on the side.
I'm pretty sure Joe would say this is not cheating.
Oh, getting 100 batarangs.
Yeah, well,
No,
I mean,
would
like
say
I
this is
said, I discovered it. Like, if you discover, like... You know, like, one thing that I always think is interesting is
Item farming is cheating, according to Joshua Helmick is saying.
Oh, Joe says I'm cheating. Oh, but he's kidding.
He says yeah.
Oh, see?
Not cheating. No, I mean that's something I would totally do.
Yeah.
I mean that's like that is absolutely beating the game legit.
Absolutely. What was I gonna say?
You think Joker put those fire breathing dragon heads there?
No, I mean it seems like something that a town
Not
called
this
Gotham.
time, Joker.
So it sounds like some of the town called Gotham City would just have, you know?
Yeah. And Shira donated $5 and says, "Try, hurry up and dance with the devil in the pale moonlight already." What'd you say? You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts.
You know, I kind of suspect that I could get that health by doing that. Okay, I think that was probably worth it. That was worth it. That health was worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was worth
I bet you could have used the
it. The grapple,
Grappling
yeah.
hook.
I was kind of... I didn't expect that falling blocks, so it kind of threw me off.
Got a $2 donation from cool alien fish 32x.
Whoa.
Thank you. It says Sonic would totally beat Joker. I mean, I wouldn't even doubt it. Not this time, Joker. Sometimes my son watches this thing on YouTube. It's like some Batman thing, and he like plays with Batman toys, and it does like the Christian Bale voice,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like, Joker. I just think it's so funny when I hear it. You're not gonna get away with this time, Joker.
I never like the first time I saw Batman Begins. I didn't even think about the fact that he was like doing a voice for Batman. Like it just, I don't know, it didn't bother me initially.
I mean, it's you don't think about it in the first one, but it's like,
What am I really supposed to do about these bombs? Like,
swear to me.
So when did this version come to the US anyway?
Probably 1990, I'm guessing.
Like when did it come to Japan?
I don't know. The Japanese version though is one of those really small cases.
Right. You almost bought it at what was that place called?
Oh yeah, the place
Sudabaya or something like that.
Yeah, I just, you couldn't even move in there.
Yeah, I know. Like that, like I remember Jimmy saying you could get some really good deals there, but like that was my least favorite store we went to, just because I mean it was just impossible to browse.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, $5 donation from Jason Hubbard, who is wondering who's your favorite, Adam West or Michael Keaton. I mean, I'm gonna say Michael Keaton just because. There you go.
Joker has slammed down to the ground from the top stair of the cathedral. Now, Joker looks dizzy with his face. Oh, there wasn't even time to read that. Joker looks dizzy. He fell and looks dizzy.
Is that what he did? It's like the swirling above his head. Wouldn't it be funny if that's what he was like a swirly around his head?
Dizzy.
I'd say Michael Keaton, even though like I did watch a lot of the Batman show here and there. I was always on like late night, and I mean, I don't know. I mean, I liked it, but it was never didn't strike me the same way.
Wait, there was a Michael Keaton Batman show?
No. I'm talking about the Adam West.
Oh! I thought you said Michael Keaton for some reason. I don't think I've ever watched. I don't think I've ever watched the old Batman show, but I've seen the movie, and like me and my friend that this was like back in high school. Me and my friend that I watched it with, like we had a good time watching it. I mean, we were just laughing. Oh, so the music's by the Blaster Master guy.
Yeah.
Nice. I mean, that is a contender for best soundtrack on NES.
Yeah.
Well,
it would be funny if he was laying there with the swirly above his head. Just so you gotta
he's dizzy. Does he die? Like, I forget. Does he die?
Oh yeah. I mean, that's why the NES version is so funny, is because Batman just like flat out throws him off. Like grabs him and asks him if he say you ever dance with the devil in pale moonlight, and like throws him off.
Well, you know, I gotta say something. I don't think I would have beaten this game if I didn't watch GameSack today.
Because you felt like you feel like you might go back and try it with 3 lives now.
I don't know. I feel like 3 lives was pretty cruel, actually. Like 5 felt like it could have been a good balance, but 7 was still pretty hard. You know, I mean, but it was manageable. You know, it still took a few attempts on, but I still still feel good about the approach that I took to finish this, because I had to start over several times. I had to learn, you know, a lot about how to play the game and the levels and stuff, you know, like that's always important to me, like getting to sort of know the game a little bit. So, you know, yeah, I mean, you know, Drum and I on the Backloggery streams have, you know, played a number of arcade games in MAME, and, you know, his rule with arcade games is, you know, you earn a credit if you get at least as far as you got the last time. So, you know, then the next time you can put in 2 coins, and the next time you can put in 3 coins, but only if you get as far as you got the last time. You know, I think that's a good way to do it, especially because with an arcade game, you know, playing it at home is ambiguous as to like what the rules should you like, even when we did like Final Fight CD though, since that's practically an arcade game, we gave ourselves the max lives, max continues, especially because it was so hard. You know, so like, I could see myself softening up on it a little bit. I feel like Joe may have softened my perspective just a little bit on upping the life count today. I think I would have been pretty hardline about it if I hadn't watched that Game Sack episode. Game Sack making you think, right?
Yeah.
Making you reflect on life and how you play video
how you
games.
enjoy games.
So yeah, well, everyone should watch that Game Sack episode. It was a topic I especially liked, and it was one that I was surprised to see, but I thought he handled it extremely well. Yeah. So Joe is responsible for all of our victories this weekend. He assisted.
This is a lot of story here. I'm just saying.
I know, surprised. Right? But Joe assisted extensively with the EQ on the interviews. You know, he helped me make some presets for the interviewees. He improved my on-camera audio, which I was not happy with. And he convinced me to up the life count in Batman on the Sega Genesis. So, thanks to Joe, we have won many victories these past 2 days.
What's really funny is that image of Vicky Vale, like, it's like cropped in a way, you know, because she like wears a dress like that in the movie, but it's like cropped in a way that like just makes her look like she's naked.
It kind of does. It's a really weird. It is kind of a weird like story sequence.
Clothes, just so you know, just so it looks like she's.
It was. Naked. I mean, let's be honest. It was probably not 100% unintentional.
Oh, absolutely not. We got a $5 donation from Tyler Carnival. Says I finally got to watch you guys. You guys. Your videos are upgrading my Genesis RGB. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Is this your first stream?
We do it every Sunday
at the same bat time, same bat channel.
That's true.
We only play Batman games.
Now I kind of feel like I have to get the Game Boy one.
Yeah, with the Game
Boy,
that's
the one where he just like has a gun.
Yeah,
he just like straight up shoots people.
Oh, did StarCraft Ghost, did it leak?
Like the whole thing? Was that game finished?
No. I mean, it was made at a time when Blizzard would just like cancel games, like they cancel after working on it for so long. But something was not up to their standards.
What systems was that for?
I thought it was.
Was it for every system or?
Yeah, I don't remember. It was an Xbox.
Game Boy Return of the Joker? I don't think I knew there was a Game Boy Return of the Joker.
Oh, there you go. We had a $2 reals from Sandro Oliveira, saying, "You guys think we'll get a PS1 by Analog soon? Probably not soon. I mean,
but who knows? I mean,
within the realm of possibilities.
Oh, sure, I'd say it's in the realm of possibility. You know, I was convinced, and I think I did some research, and I convinced myself that it was probably not true. But when I played Return of the Joker on NES, I was convinced that it was like a Predator game, and they just like swapped the license. Because like the last level is like in a jungle, and then like the Joker is in like some like alien machine. Like, it's really weird. It's really weird. But I did not know there was a Game Boy Return of the Joker. Is it like the same game, or is it pretty extensively different?
I don't know. I have no idea. I got a $4.99 donation from Paul Sutton, who says, since you guys left the stream last week before my donation went through, do I get credit for this week's stream?
Yeah, the only reason we streamed this week was because of that. The stream would not have happened.
I mean, I pondered for a second of like coming back, like starting it back up.
I mean, I can see, Joe, why like that like blew you away, because I mean, with the Genesis's limited colors, I mean, you can do like skin tone and blonde hair like pretty convincingly without that many colors.
We had a $2 donation from Scott F saying, my most underrated Sunsoft game, Super Spy Hunter. I mean, I don't remember anything about Super Spy Hunter.
Is that related to regular Spy Hunter?
Yeah, as far as I know.
Does it have the music?
Probably.
I really want to
play Spy Hunter 2. You ever play the arcade Spy Hunter 2? I mean, did that ever get like a port outside of? Did Spy Hunter 2, the arcade version, get a port outside of like being on compilations, like emulation compilations?
What system is Super Spy Hunter on?
Is it on the NES maybe?
Is Mega Spy Hunter on the Genesis? You know, a game that I kind of have a soft spot for is the I don't own it. I was actually kind of thinking about getting it when I was out game shopping yesterday. Is the PS2. Actually, I don't know what system is all it's on, but the PS2 Spy Hunter. I kind of have a soft spot for that game.
Is that the one? It doesn't have like The Rock in it or something? Or is he going to be in the Spy Hunter movie?
Not that I recall, but
That might be what was going to happen. There was a movie that was going to come out that had The Rock in it.
Okay. Is Spy Hunter on Xbox the same game as the PS2 game? I mean, yeah. I assume it's probably better on Xbox. Maybe I'll get that version. So Super Spy Hunter's on NES. Huh, I had no, like, I would have been super interested in that if I knew it was a Sunsoft game. Is it like, is it common?
I don't know. Oh, The Rock was in the third Spy Hunter game for PS2 and Xbox.
Wait, there's 3 games on PS2 and Xbox?
Yeah, I guess so.
Seriously?
I always thought there was only 2 as well, but
that's pretty wild.
It's just like it's a flat out trilogy.
That's wild. I had no idea.
You should do a video on the Spy Hunter trilogy.
Now I'm gonna have to
Spy Hunter Trial.
I'm gonna have to start looking at NES Commons again. I hate looking at NES Commons because there's like not much that I find there lately that I'm interested in. Although, you know, every once in a while you like learn about like another game that's like, oh, that's interesting, you get it. But like most days looking at NES Commons is not fun.
Well, is that going to do it for this week? I mean, it's midnight.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess that will do it. So yeah, thanks everyone again for watching the stream and watching the documentary. And it feels good to be able to talk about that in a way that's not just blowing smoke, I guess. You know, now we can we have something to show for it.
Yeah, that's a relief. It's a relief. Thanks to everybody who donated. Everyone's went crazy with the donations again this week. Thank you. And we'll be back next week
with unless you change your mind.
No, I'm pretty committed to it.
Okay, I am excited. I feel like that might be like the best stream of all time. Like that's I'm excited.
We're gonna do. I've never beat Contra with just like stock lives and stock continues. So
it's not that hard. It's really not.
I don't feel like it's gonna be that hard.
Yeah. All right.
All right. We will See you next week.
See ya.